Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. Welcome to my new office and to our weekly review of how religion impacts humanity. We start with the bad news. 2 new Church of England faith schools have been given the green light to open by the UK government. Humanist UK, which long campaigned for fully inclusive state schools which are suitable for children from all faith backgrounds, has expressed its disappointment at the decision to open more faith schools, pointing out that the number of children currently attending C of E schools outstrips the church's entire worshipping community. It nevertheless welcomed the fact that the proportion of faith school proposals that had been successful in securing government approval was considerably lower than previous years, with just 9% of the schools set to open having a faith character compared to nearly a quarter of those announced in 2019. As a free school, the Avenue C of E primary school in Derbyshire will legally be permitted to select half of its pupils according to faith. And while the school's website purports that it will be open to children of all backgrounds, it doesn't rule out selecting children by religion, saying only that it will satisfy the requirements of the school's admission code, which allows such selection. As a voluntary aided school, Kingston Church of England Secondary School in Kingston upon Thames will be able to select 100% of its pupils by religion. Both proposals will now be subject to a 4-week local consultation known as a representation period, and local residents are strongly encouraged to respond. As a voluntary aided school, Kingston will also need approval from the local authority, so there is potentially more scope to prevent it opening in the event of local opposition. There's better news from Australia, where our correspondent, Meredith Doig, president of the Rationalist Society of Australia, has this to report.
So the news from Victoria State in Australia is that our Parliament has finally passed a bill that bans gay conversion therapies. This world-leading change or suppression practices prohibition bill passed the Legislative Council late on Thursday night, 29 votes to 9, following 12 hours of debate. It outlaws any therapy that attempts to change or suppress a person's sexual orientation or gender identity, and it empowers the Victorian Equal Opportunity and Human Rights Commission to investigate reports of conversion practices. It'll place strong criminal sanctions for people who subject others to conversion practices that cause injury or serious injury, with up to 10 years jail for the serious injury. Those who try to get around the laws by sending people to conversion practices in other states in Australia, or overseas presumably, could face criminal sanctions and fines of almost $10,000. So LGBTI advocates have welcomed the legislation, saying that it's life-saving, and you can understand why. The CEO of Equality Australia, Anna Brown, said this. She said, "While no law can fix a complex social problem on its own, this law is a great step towards ending the incredible harm that's caused by gay conversion practices, and it paves the way for more positive reform in other parts of Australia. Victoria leads the way again." The response by the CEO of Australian Christian Lobby and said this: 2021 has barely begun, and already the battle for your religious freedom has hit an alarming new level of urgency. With Victoria passing the Change or Suppression Conversion Practices Prohibition Bill, those who want to suppress God's truth and people of faith have revealed their true agenda. And what may you ask is the true agenda? This is what he writes. They hate Christians and they want to silence us. And then he goes on, and that's why I'm asking you for money.
Well, what a surprise. They always. Now, I'll put the full version of that report in the details underneath this show. In the USA, this report is by Jeffrey Collins. A proposal that would likely ban almost all abortions in South Carolina moved closer to final approval in a committee vote split along party lines on Tuesday. The House Judiciary Committee in Columbia voted by 15-8 to pass the South Carolina Fetal Heartbeat and Protection from Abortion Act. The bill has already passed the Senate, and the governor promises he will sign it. The proposal would require doctors to use an ultrasound to try to detect a fetal heartbeat if they think pregnant women are at least 8 weeks along. If they find a heartbeat and the pregnancy is not the result of rape or incest, they can't perform the abortion unless the mother's life is in danger. A fetal heartbeat can be detected as soon as 6 weeks after conception and before many women know they are pregnant. About a dozen other states have passed similar bills, although they are all tied up in court challenges. The main sponsor of this bill, Representative John McCravey, Republican from Greenwood, said during his explanation of the bill that he expects the US Supreme Court to overturn its 1973 abortion rights decision because of recent conservative justices added by former President Donald Trump. The Constitution in our nation has devolved into whatever 9 justices say it means, McCravey said. Republicans stayed mostly quiet after explaining the bill, allowing several Democrats to speak. This is an issue we should not be legislating, said Beth Bernstein, Democrat from Columbia. It's a decision that needs to be made between a woman, her family, and her doctor. Democrats unsuccessfully tried to change the bill. John King, Democrat from Rock Hill, proposed amendments that the state would assume full financial responsibility for a child if the mother is denied an abortion, calling it truly pro-life. Another failed amendment said if the proposal became law, it would only be enforced if the US Supreme Court upholds similar laws in other states. Both proposals failed on party line votes. A third amendment would have allowed pregnant women and the fathers of their babies to carry guns openly to protect their fetuses. That also did not pass. Democrats made arguments that Republicans don't care enough about children after they were born. They also questioned the constitutionality of the bill and components of the proposal, like how the state would handle requiring doctors to show the ultrasound to visually impaired women. According to this bill, the doctor shall ask the woman if she wants to hear the heartbeat. So I guess we'll have to train our doctors in sign language, said Justice Bamberg, Democrat from Bamberg. Tuesday's discussion in the committee meeting is likely a preview of the debate that will take place on the House floor later this month. Returning to the UK, our friends at Atheist Republic have some better news for Jewish women who are seeking a divorce.
The United Kingdom proposes amendments to help Jewish women denied divorce. So, the Labour and Conservative parties, Liberal Democrats, and independent politicians joined forces for a proposal that could provide optimism to Jewish women in the United Kingdom. They presented a motion for updating the domestic abuse bill to help any woman whose husband refuses to divorce her under Jewish law, thus proffering hope to approximately 30 women in the UK currently being denied a get by their husbands. A get is a divorce under halakha, which is Jewish law, and can only be given by a husband to a wife.
Hakala.
Hakala. Okay, sorry. The refusal prevents the wife from marrying again under Orthodox law until they obtain a get from their husband. If he refuses, the wife becomes known as an aguna.
Aguna, chained woman.
Yes. Aguna refers to the wife becoming chained, prevented from remarrying or having children in harmony with her Orthodox beliefs. Members of the House of Lords, the upper house of Parliament in the United Kingdom, proposed amendments to protect victims of get refusal. So this I thought was really interesting because, well, like, what standing does the United Kingdom have in Jewish law, you know?
And the thing is, like, it's just a ritual divorce, right? So, like, you could get or have a civil divorce where you're not divorced under British law, or not married rather under British law, but you can't remarry in the Jewish tradition, you know, Orthodox. You could if you Reformed or humanistic without the get. And the thing is that a lot of those women that they're talking about are in kind of domestic violence situations or situations with their husbands manipulating them, like demanding money, demanding they drop charges against them. You know, if they've got charges.
I wanted to read some of that. So
yeah.
Here's some situations that exhibit like how bad this get refusal can really get. Haha. So Lord Mendelssohn highlighted the situation where a woman gave, £150,000 to her ex-husband in exchange for her get, which was less than that awarded by the civil court, and being forced to sign a document relinquishing any ownership of the joint properties. She was encouraged by the Beth Din to accept the offer as a legitimate way to secure her get, but she did not choose to do so. A third woman's husband was being prosecuted for the sexual abuse of her children. In trying to secure her get, she was asked to lie to the police and tell them that the accusations had been fabricated so that she would be given her religious divorce. Additional financial sums were requested. The husband made further demands that were impossible for the wife to fulfill. So you can see how this ritual divorce is used to extort women.
Yes, religions in general do not treat women as equal to men, do they? Now, in Italy, in the Vatican, in fact, Pope Francis has appointed 2 women to posts that previously have only been held by men. Maybe there's some enlightenment going on. Reuters reports that Pope appointed Natalie Beckhardt, 52, as co-under-secretary of the Synod of Bishops on Saturday. Beckhardt, a French member of the Xavier Missionary Sisters, will now be a part of the department that handles major meetings between world bishops that take place every few years. Beckhardt's new position will give her the power to vote in all male assemblies, Reuters notes. Although women have observed and consulted in past synods, only male representatives have previously been permitted to vote on documents sent to the Pope. A door has been opened. We will see what other steps could be taken in the future, the Synod's Secretary General, Cardinal Mario Gresh, told the Vatican's official news site. Also appointed Katia Sumeria, an Italian magistrate, to be the first female promoter of justice in the Vatican's Court of Appeals on Friday, Reuters added. As the news service notes, the Pope has previously appointed women to several other senior roles. Last year, he reportedly appointed 6 women to senior roles in overseeing the Vatican's finances and named women as Deputy Foreign Minister, Director of the Vatican Museums, and Deputy Head of the Vatican Press Office. Francis has upheld the Church's stance on barring female priests, Reuters notes, though he has set up commissions to look into the history of female deacons in the early history of the Catholic Church. Unusually, there's some good news from Nigeria. Elijah Ode, Christian barber accused of blasphemy, has been discharged and acquitted. Census news. Here in the UK, we have a census every decade, and there's one coming up. There is now a box to tick for no religion. And this is a reminder to all UK voters that it's important to tick it. This reminder comes from Andy Phillips of Atheism UK.
Have you ever been asked to fill out a form where at some point it asks you about your religion? Then as a result of being asked that question, you tick the box without a second thought, and you indicate the religion you've been raised in. It's almost a knee-jerk reaction. But ask yourself, are you actually religious? In reality, do you see yourself as someone that follows a religion? On the 21st of March this year, the Office for National Statistics will be conducting the 2021 census in England and Wales. Now there's different arrangements for Northern Ireland and Scotland, but the census will again include a tick box section that asks people about their religion and lists several options to choose from, including Christian, Hindu, Muslim, etc. There is also an option to check the no religion box. Now the census is not asking about the religion you may have been raised under, it's trying to discover the number of people who identify as religious and what faith they currently follow. And if you don't follow religion, then it's important to indicate that you follow no religion. We'd like to encourage everybody who completes the 2021 census and doesn't follow a religion to say so by ticking the no religion box. This information helps the government to have a clear picture of the state of the nations. It will help to drive the reasoning for a more secular society. This is important as we move through the 21st century. A more secular society reduces religious divisions. A society where having no religious affiliation becomes the norm. It'll help to get a true picture of non-belief in the UK, and we're encouraging people who do not follow any religion or believe in any God to say so and tick the box marked no religion. So our message is simple. Don't believe it, don't tick it. In the past, people have jokingly decided to rebel by giving their religion as Jedi or some other pseudo-religion. But while this shows a sense of humour and may give some sort of temporary satisfaction, it actually inflates the number of people who are counted as being religious and reduces the number of genuine non-believers. If you want a more secular society, then it's important that you make your voice heard. So if you follow no faith or follow no religion, then tick the no religion box.
Thank you, Andy. That makes so much sense. Finally, some good news from the President of the United States of America.
I have some welcome news that the Saudi government has released a prominent human rights activist, Lojane Lowell, L-O-O-L, from prison. She was a powerful advocate for women's rights, and releasing her was the right thing to do.
Well, he's right. And we will be back with our weekly news review on our new platforms at the same time next week. Please like, share, comment, set the notifications, etc. Thank you for watching.